as we finish up, a couple more topics here. We've done this once before, where I ask you the finishing moves you think they would be, or in English, I ask you what you think the finishing moves would be on these retro figures I have, and I just got a new batch of things here.
Oh, good Lord.
You know, last time we talked about Mattel Creations putting out Hasbro-esque WWE figures featuring classic wrestling performers. They're great. Other companies have gotten into the mix. So I have some other figures here.
Everybody's always got to get in on the act.
This one here, in the Hasbro style, is from Cella Toys. It is a King Haku figure. The classic 1988-89 King Haku with the crown. What would his finishing maneuver be on the figure?
Well, and now we established when we discussed this previously that you would think, okay, the Paul Orndorff would be the pile driver or whatever their trademark move would be, but instead these toy companies have concocted, as strange as it may seem, they give these finishing maneuvers strange names these days. We had who's on first, what was on second, I don't know. So it could be anything, but of course the finish maybe that Haku was known was the Tongan Death Grip. But I bet you that's not it.
Holy shit. Finishing maneuver, Tongan Death Grip.
Well, son of a bitch.
Wow, how the fuck did you get that?
You know what? Because they were scared of fucking Haku. They didn't want to fuck around with him.
I can't believe you just got that, the first one. Well,
there you go.
Wow. I wish I had bought two of these. I want to open this thing now, but I'm scared to. All right, well, I have another one here. This one is, I believe, from the same company, Cella Toys, Epic Toys. This is a glow-in-the-dark Atom Bomb toy, former wrestler of yours, the Night Stalker, Brian Clark.
Yep.
This is the radioactive variant. I guess that's why it glows in the dark. What would the finishing maneuver of Atom Bomb on this figure be?
Well, and also, by the way, we just out of the blue mentioned Paul Orndorff. You know that the person who got Brian Clark booked with me in Smoky Mountain Wrestling as the Night Stalker before he then graduated the next year to go on and become Atom Bomb was Paul Orndorff.
Was it because they were both living in Georgia?
They were both living in Georgia, and Paul had seen him at, some of the local shows or a local show or whatever. And he looked great and looked like a superstar and was at that point was green, but was talented because you saw his work. He didn't look like shit. And so Paul had recommended, hey, I got this guy, and he could ride up with me. I've assumed drive probably, but he was perfect for Kevin Sullivan's, Army of Darkness there. So that's the Night Stalker his debut was from that.
The thing is, he almost instantly became infamous because of that match at the Clash of Champions with him and Sid. In 1990. It was so bad.
Yeah, because, now remember, this was 1993 that I got Brian.
Well, 92 you got him.
And, late 92, yes, late 92. And it had been a couple of years later because, yes, this was one of the worst wrestling matches ever televised by WCW. And imagine what kind of territory that takes in. But that was, he had just started like months before that, Brian. And it was Sid. So they were a rudderless ship.
But him with Sullivan worked perfectly. They look good together. It was kind of like a Drew McIntyre hanging over Sullivan.
Yeah.
And it was like the thing that repaired him to a lot of people to give him a chance. At least smart fans, because that, was, what did we know him for? He was managed by Ox Baker, and then that match with Sid. So, they didn't have much going for him. And then with Smoky Mountain Wrestling and Kevin Sullivan and the feud with Brian Lee, it kind of got him ready to go to WWF as Atom Bomb.
Yeah, and then, unfortunately, it was the era of the pun names, and at least he didn't get an occupation, unless I guess it was blowing the world up. But Atom Bomb, he went and got that giant mushroom cloud tattoo on his arm when he got the gimmick. I'm like, Jesus Christ, Brian, in a year and a half, I bet you probably ain't going to have that fucking name.
What was Atom Bomb's hometown? Do you remember?
No, I do not.
3 Mile Island.
Oh, of course. Even though the 3 Mile Island actually had nothing to do with atomic bombs. was more about nuclear waste.
Is that a Vince thing? Like we have to give you some hometown that's just ridiculous?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, what's the finishing maneuver of this glow-in-the-dark radioactive variant?
He did a power bomb variation, and I can't remember what it was called, but some play on the bomb thing. But what do they got?
The Atom Smasher.
Okay. The Atom Smasher was a popular 40s pulp superhero that I think he was fighting the Axis powers at that point.
All right, the final two I have here I have to be careful with because I got an email from the company saying that due to, I guess, either the glue and or the weight of these figures, they're coming right off the bubble.
Oh, good Lord.
But these are toys in the Grapplers and Gimmicks line, again, replicating the classic WWF Hasbro, or WWE Hasbro, I guess we should say, by it's either Hastel Toy or Hassel Toy. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it, but Hastel Toy and Collectible.
Don't hassle these people.
I have the Bobby Horn and Nelson Frazier Jr. figures here. Now, of course, they are better known as Mo and Mabel, Men on a Mission, but those are names owned by WWE, so...
Well, wait a minute. How is Atom Bomb?
I guess Brian Clark owns the rights to it.
Well, how... that doesn't really make a lot of sense, does it?
I don't know how that worked, but for...
Yeah. Well, apparently, the Men on a Mission, they signed one of those Barry Gordy type contracts where they just got screwed on all their rights and everything.
Well, we're not going to call them Men on a Mission here. They will just be fellas with a purpose. But, Jim...
Well, wait. With a purpose. You know what we used to call them in the locker room whenever they'd go through the curtain doing their thing? When they'd say, "We're on a mission." Everybody at the gorilla position would go, "We're on assistance. We're on assistance."
Well, Bobby Horn, better known as Mo, what would his finishing maneuver be?
Good Lord. I assume they won matches, but I can't remember many, and I am completely in the dark. And I like Bobby as a person. Even Mo was a nice guy, but I don't know what he was doing.
The Motown Basher.
Okay, I'm pretty sure those words have never been uttered on a television program in history.
Right, they're supposed to be from New York. Why would you even go with Motown? That's Detroit.
Well, because his name is Mo. So it should have been the Mo Howard. Mo Howard meltdown or whatever the fuck it was.
I always feel bad for him. Because when I was a kid, they had wrestlers signing autographs at the Nassau Coliseum at the Arena Club before the show. And a lot of wrestlers would be signing and they'll look up and smile. Just, they understand this is part of the job. WWF is the one who put them out there. Don't fuck up and be rude. Mo was like depressed or just fucked. I don't know what. He was looking down and just signing his name and not caring. And I still have it here. It was one of those blue WWF, like generic things that had everyone's picture all around it. So they could just give it to everyone. It's not individualized.
Right.
And he wrote Mo. Best of everything. But, wrestlers love strip clubs. And if you go to a strip club, I would think, and you're one of these strippers, and you meet a wrestler, it's like, holy shit, I met The Undertaker. Or holy shit, I met The Godfather. Or holy shit, The Godfather's back. No, but it's one of these guys. It's a big name.
Or here, Godfather's here again. He won't leave, but go ahead.
So what do? I'm a wrestler. What's your name? Mo. That's it? Yeah, just Mo. Well, Jim.
Oh God. And I gotta say this also, because in all fairness to Bobby Horn, he actually had been a wrestler and wanted to be a wrestler and did things on an independent level after that run was over with, and I believe tried to run his own shows. He lived for quite a while and I think was from somewhere in West Tennessee.
Well, that was where I first saw him. They were the Harlem Knights in Memphis.
Yeah, because, and then Mabel, Mr. Frazier, goddamn, if Plowboy Frazier had been alive around at the same time and they'd have booked him as brothers, my God, that would have been the greatest thing for a variety of reasons.
The Frazier brothers.
The Frazier brothers, Nelson and Plowboy. My God, Lawler would have done it just to watch the fucking show. That would have been these two 500-pound fucking motherfuckers. But anyway, So I don't know where they found him, but obviously Mabel's basic ticket into the business was because he weighed 500 pounds and was however fucking big. And Vince tried to push him and etc. But we all know how that turned out. But Bobby Horn wanted a long career in the business and, was in a variety of different facets, had one. And then Oscar, bless him, he was a nice guy, but he was the guy that just jumped out in front of Vince at one of the WrestleMania hotels and did a rap in front of him. And Vince got a wild hair up his ass, as Mama Cornette used to say, and came up with Mo, Oscar, and Mabel, Mom, Men on a Mission. And this was 1990.
93. It was the summer of 93.
Right, okay. Vince had just heard about rap. It did take it about 13 or 14 years.
Well, no, they did have Run DMC at WrestleMania 5. That was kind of the worst moment of Run DMC's career, but they had him there. Yeah.
I think Vince was probably in the bathroom at that point in time because it was. You saw the glee in his face when he would do that, and they come out and we're on a mission, and But that was what that was, and woe is me. All right.
And by the way, apparently, and it is not shipped yet, but there is an Oscar figure from this line coming out too, so you'll be able to complete the set.
Well, God, thank goodness. I mean, it would have been a crime if you couldn't complete that set.
Well, that'll be the next installment in this series when we see what his finishing maneuver is. But finally, Jim, Nelson Frazier Jr., better known as Mabel or Viscera.
Well, his finish was the Hospitalator, right? Because he fucking caved Undertaker's face in, and who'd he sit on? Broke their back or hurt their back or did whatever the fuck.
Would there be Would there be a Nia Jax without a Mabel?
Possibly, but he did blaze the trail. But I mean, it's hard to control that much flesh and poundage and tonnage and sewage, and
that's why Yokozuna was so good.
Yeah, because he could control it till the end.
Yeah.
But again, was he just jumping up and sitting on people? I can't remember what the fuck he was doing.
He had a big splash, but here it is the hip hop clobber. The hip hop clobber. And speaking of clobber, I got to be careful putting this figure down. This is the one that it weighs so much it just rips the plastic right off the thing.
It weighs so much it's hazardous to its own health. My God, they do make these figures realistic these days.
I have one more here, but it does not have a finishing maneuver. They did a Greg Valentine. This is from Epic Toys.
Oh, the guy that had one of the classic finishing maneuvers of all time doesn't get a finishing maneuver.
Well, no, you know what they did? They did the rhythm and blues version of Greg Valentine, or as it says here, rock and roll Greg Valentine, which with the black hair and the Elvis jacket, but no finishing maneuver. But that is our classic wrestling figure finishing maneuver segment for this week.